What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys. But before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get the best Nintendo Switch and RPG news out there. Now, with that out of the way, let's go in and jump right into it. And we're starting off with the big announcement from Microsoft that games are going up to $70. Now, what's coming out next year for Microsoft? Big RPGs and big titles that they know that they want to get $70 from if the people aren't subscribed to Game Pass. So games like Starfield and Redfall, these are big multiplayer slash RPGs that are going to command a lot of attention and get people excited and interested in the Xbox platform even more than they already are. So they've decided to increase the price to $70, which is pretty much where a lot of these companies are going with. Like, we see NBA 2K at 70, we see Sony's games at 70, and we're going to talk about Nintendo in just a bit. That's where the focus is, but I want to make sure that I get everything down here with this first with Microsoft, and then we'll transition into that. Now, Microsoft actually announced this as like a thing. It wasn't like they just put it out there. Like, they actually had it right up and why they're doing it and explaining it. And also, here's what they had to say about the price hike from $60 to $70. Quote, "This price reflects the content, scale, and technical complexity of these titles." A Microsoft spokesperson told IGN, "As with all games developed by our teams at Xbox, they will also be available with Game Pass the same day they launch." Now, Microsoft Gaming CEO in October did state that at some point the future Xbox would need to increase prices. So we talked about that and the holiday and stuff that's going on here, and it makes complete sense, at least from just what the industry is doing. Now, you could talk about all sorts of other factors with, like, oh my gosh, they make DLC and there's this and that, and I completely understand that, but at this point the prices are going to be going up. Sony put the prices up and people still buy Sony's biggest games at that price, right? We're seeing NBA 2K, we're seeing other developers put the price up, and eventually they're all going to go up. And yes, that does include Nintendo eventually. Now, will Nintendo increase the price of the next gen Switch games to $70? It's a possibility. How much tech is going to be in those games? What are they going to do with them? Is it something to where they feel that they can leverage it being at 60 and still be profitable at that? It's something that we have to wait and see completely for. But Nintendo is probably going to eventually increase the price of the games to $70 to meet what everybody else is doing. Now, Nintendo was late to the $60 bandwagon, and that's because they had an SD system with the Nintendo Wii. If you remember, the Nintendo Wii, that system was not HD, did not have the capabilities and graphical performances of what you saw with the 360 and the PlayStation 3, so therefore the games were $50. Now, when they actually got up to that level, they said, all right, 60 for most of their games. Some of their games were 50, some of their games were other prices, but the most of the big releases were $60. Now, they stayed with that again for this generation, but it definitely seems like so many publishers are moving over to the $70 range, and if the next big Legend of Zelda game on the next gen Nintendo Switch comes out and it's $70, I think people are still going to be hyped and excited to buy that even at 70, as people snap up collector's editions of games that are nowhere near as good as the biggest games and stuff, right? So I feel that people are going to be okay with the $70 price tag on Xbox, especially because they have the Game Pass option, and people have already been buying $70 games on the PlayStation 5, for a while now at this point. But I will say this, and this is the biggest factor out of all this, whether it's Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Valve, PC, whatever the case is, right, when it comes down to all of this, because I do feel that eventually Nintendo is going to get there, and I cover Nintendo the most on this channel. But here's what the biggest deal with this is. If you don't like the $70 price, then don't buy it at $70. Heck, if you don't like a $60 price, then don't buy it at $60. There's always going to be sales, there's always going to be discounts, and you can just wait. Having FOMO is not a valid excuse to say, oh, well, this just puts me behind the 8 ball because I have to wait before I play a game. Look, I just bought Horizon Forbidden West. that was 40 bucks at Walmart, okay? And that came out this year. Now, that was a number of months ago, but it's had sales before. So if you don't want to pay 70, if you wait just a little bit, you can. And people will talk about spoilers and stuff like that. Well, do a better job with your filters online, on Twitter and on stuff like that. Mute certain words, don't Google search certain stuff if you don't want to be spoiled. That's also not something that you can just say, okay, well, there's that. You got to just simply stay away. I haven't been spoiled on Horizon Forbidden West yet, you know, when it comes down to it. So for me, if you don't like the price, simply don't buy it at that price and wait for sales. There's always going to be sales. But once again, it's inevitable that this happens with Nintendo eventually at some point, right? At some point it's going to happen, whether it's the upcoming gem or it's the following one, because the games are going to get more complex and everything. So to me, it's one of those things to where I can understand why people are upset. I completely get people complaining and all of that. But at the end of the day, you're either going to pay the $70 for the game day one for FOMO, fear of missing out, or you're going to wait and get the game on discount. And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people buy the game day one if they want it day one, if you don't want to wait, because your time is valuable. And if it's something that you don't care about, like if you don't have to have it day one, then you can just simply wait months and you can get a discount. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been, even for games back in the day on the Super Nintendo that were like $80 or $70 day one back then. If you just waited, you could get it for cheaper. So same thing here, guys, at the end of the day. So it's up to you. You spend your money how you want to, you divvy it up how you want to, but they're not going to have these big, huge AAA games that are coming out that take them all these years to develop and not raise the price. It was definitely something that was going to happen. So it is what it is there. But what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to the price increase and also with what Nintendo could do going forward in the future? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, we've got some new details on the Dragon Quest Treasures online features. So I didn't even know that this game has online features, and this game is launching this week, so I know I'll be playing it. I'm going to be checking out. A lot of you guys have been asking me about Dragon Quest Treasures. I'm covering it a lot more now, so I think that this is definitely going to be interesting for sure with this online stuff. So it says that you can connect with others via the internet. Once Eric and Mia's gang has grown sufficiently large, a mechanical diplomat known as AL4N will come and stay at their base. He grants access to the gang network, a hub of online features that players can use to interact with other gangs. Once you've connected to the internet, you'll be able to hide treasure in Draconia, search for loot hidden by others, send your monsters out to show off your best treasures to other gangs, and likewise receive their monsters as guests. So it's all about the gangs around here. We're going old school. So when the gang's rank is high enough, AL4N will come to the base and grant access to the gang network. The gang network lets you check out other players' profiles and is a hub for fun mini games such as treasure hunts and treasure tours. They're really going all out with this treasure hunting stuff. Now, to access the online features, simply link a Nintendo account to the Nintendo Switch user and speak to AL4N. A subscription to Nintendo Switch Online is not required because it's not direct online multiplayer, so it's almost like the free-to-play type of features, or I would say like the you know, like the background features that kind of go on and stuff is just transmitted between the systems. So that's pretty cool that you don't need a Nintendo Switch Online in order to take advantage of that. Now, AL4N is an old friend of Mr. Ustin and is an accomplished diplomat. He comes to the base after hearing about Eric and Mia's achievements. Now, the online feature 1, play treasure hunting games with friends. You can hide your treasure anywhere in Draconia or download hidden treasure data uploaded by other users and let the hunt begin. Treasure can be hidden in a location of your choosing or any of Draconia's islands. You can save up to 3 hiding places as favorites. Other players can download your hidden treasure data. The more downloads you get, the more valuable the treasure will become. So that's awesome to hear. Successfully track down some hidden loot to receive a replica of it. Your monsters will inform you when another player's treasure is hidden nearby. Look for a blue chest inside a speech bubble. Replicas don't add to the value of your treasure vault, but they can be sold for money. Rare replica treasures command a high price. And you also have more online features. Part 2 here, send monsters to your friends' bases. You can send a monster off to visit other players' bases where they'll show off one of your treasures. Likewise, you can welcome monsters from other gangs to your base and give likes to the treasures they show you. When a visiting monster shows you their treasure, it's up to you to give it the likes it deserves before the timer runs out. Monsters from gangs around the world can come visit you. If you know a friend's gang ID and their secret password, you can invite their monsters to come to your base. When other players like the treasure your monsters show them, its value will go up. Visiting monsters will take their treasure with them when they leave, but you'll receive a replica of it as a memento. So this is pretty awesome here. They have these background and these cool little features where you can send out your monsters and get replica treasures and do these little treasure chest hunts and stuff like that. It just adds more value to this game, which obviously isn't going to be as big as Dragon Quest XI, which I've talked about before on the channel here, but it looks like a really fun game to kind of play in between before we get Dragon Quest III, the HD 2D remake, and also Dragon Quest XII, which is probably going to be shown off at some point in the upcoming year or so. So to me, I think that this is a great little game to play in between. It's not full price from what I know. If it's not, then I'll fix that, but it's not full price, and it's going to be a dope little Dragon Quest game to play if you're into like Dragon Quest Monsters and Joker and some of the spin-off Dragon Quest games. But this time you have a familiar area, obviously Dragon Quest XI's setting. You have characters from that setting as well, Eric, just younger at this point, and the gameplay looks really fun. You've got some shooting segments, you've got some other type of segments, you got mini games in here, you've got some online features as well. I think that this is going to be a fun game to play, so I will be checking out this week. If you guys want to know more about it, obviously you can wait for my review and gameplay, and I think it's not going to be too bad. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to Dragon Quest treasures and these new online features? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys, we've got some brand new gameplay footage and information for Fire Emblem Engage, and you guys know I am extremely excited for this game. I'm starting to cover it like every single day. Intelligent Systems, the Fire Emblem official Twitter account, is putting out new footage and new information on characters. We saw Byleth, and now we have Corrin, two of my favorite Fire Emblem characters of all time. I know they're new ones, but still, guys, Byleth is awesome. He looked great. We talked about that on Twitter and everything. And now Corrin looks awesome too as well. So this is great to see. We have some more information on Corrin's skills, so we can talk about that as you guys check out this new gameplay footage. So Emblem Corrin's Sync skill, Dragon Vein, lets you add special effects to the terrain. The effect depends on the unit's battle type. For example, a flyer unit can change the terrain to glow, which has a renewal effect. Dragon units can choose every special effect. Now, Emblem Corrin's Engage weapon, Reverse Katana, reverses the weapon triangle, allowing you to break lances. Take care when wielding it, because axe-wielding foes can break you, so you got to be very careful on that one. Now, Emblem Corrin's Engage skill, Dreadful Aura, prevents the opponent and enemies one square around them from moving for one turn when the user initiates combat. When you see enemies grouped together, that's the perfect time to use this. Emblem Corrin's Engage skill, Torrential Roar, attacks 3 enemies in a line in front of the user, adding the Water Avoid -30 effect terrain below them. When you see enemies all lined up, try using Torrential Roar to damage them while weakening their counterattacks. You can get a look at the footage here, guys. This is looking absolutely awesome. Fire Emblem Engage is set to go on the Nintendo Switch January 20th, 2023. I think Nintendo's been sitting on this game. It's looking polished, it's looking great. And I've talked about this before in my previous videos, but I think I'm going to mention it every single time for the new subscribers and everything. But what I like about this Fire Emblem game is that it's not doing the crazy multi-tiered, multi-path stories. We've gotten that 2 mainline Fire Emblem games in a row. Fire Emblem Fates, we had Birthright Conquest and also Revelations. Then also Fire Emblem Three Houses, we had the Black Eagles, we had the Golden Deer, we have the Blue Lions. Like, we have all these different paths that just take so much time, and that's awesome. And don't get me wrong, it's so much fun to be able to have that, but having a singular story with a concise message going forward is fantastic for Fire Emblem, because that's how it was. Getting back to that is somewhat good in my opinion for this one, especially because it's taken a lot of cues when it comes to visually, just what I would expect if Fire Emblem Awakening was in HD and all that, or at least made for a new system. It kind of visually reminds me of that, but then also the other best-selling Fire Emblem game of all time, it's actually the best grossing Fire Emblem game of all time, and that's Fire Emblem Heroes. So you're going to get more people to come over from that area, and I think that's why Fire Emblem Engage's pre-order numbers have actually already beat out Fire Emblem Three Houses, the entirety, with still a month and some odd weeks to go. So that's pretty good. I think there's Fire Emblem Heroes fans getting ready. I think there's Fire Emblem Awakening fans getting ready. And I feel that this is going to be a story that really suits not only the new school fans, but then also some of the old school fans and some of the people that just came over from the mobile. I think it's really trying to make everybody happy with this one. And I feel that it's going to be a really good story and a really good game. I love what they're doing here with the emblem rings and everything so far. And the graphics look better than Fire Emblem Three Houses when it comes to the environmental details and the characters. So I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. So what are your thoughts on Fire Emblem Engage Corrin and all this different content and attacks and everything she can do? Who's your favorite so far from who they've revealed? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys, we've got a brand new Nintendo Switch online game trial. River City Girls is coming to this, and it was awesome because just in a video that I did about the underrated RPGs and underrated games on the channel, I'll have a link to that in the description. River City Girls was on my list, and now you can play it as a free trial, and this goes from December 6th through December 12th. So that is awesome that you're going to be able to play this type of game. Now, the Nintendo Switch Online service still isn't quite up to what we see with Microsoft and Sony when it comes to the PS Plus games or the Xbox Game Pass games. Like, I completely get that. But having stuff like River City Girls, this type of bite-sized game that you can pick up and play, it's not a game that's going to take you so long, so you can beat it within the trial period. And I think that this is going to be the success for them, is offering some of these smaller or these independent titles that are really good that you can play and get a good feel for in a short amount of time, instead of offering a larger type of game, which they usually offer that style. But I think that this is the perfect game to offer for this type of thing. If it's going to be limited only for about a week or some odd days, then do stuff like this to where you can really get a feel for the game and play quite a bit of it, or heck, probably even beat it, because it's not a super long game. Then if you really like it, you can buy it and then play it again, or have the replay value, because there is a lot of replay value in River City Girls. So I love this franchise. I've been playing the River City Ransom or the River City game since I was little. So to see it still prosper all these years going forward and kind of changing things up is awesome to see. So it's good to see that it's on the Nintendo Switch Online free trial service. So what do you guys think? Are you going to be trying out River City Girls? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys, we've got the surprise hit of this year that seemingly every single Twitch streamer was playing. Big third-party game coming to Nintendo Switch, and that is Powerwash Simulator. Yes, it's coming to Switch, it's coming to PS5, it's coming to PS4, and we're gonna get some more information on this soon here. So this game's already available on Xbox Series, Xbox One, and PC. So the release date for PS5, PS4, and Switch versions of Powerwash Simulator will be announced in early 2023, alongside new power washing content and announcements. Developer Future Lab said in a development update. And once again, early access for PC back in 2021, full release on Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC, Steam, Microsoft Store back in July 14th. And once again, this game took over the Twitch streaming world, because you know those Twitch people will be streaming all sorts of weird stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that they're finally bringing this game over. This was a hit. Some people really like washing stuff away with the Power Washer. I think that I would have a lot more fun with the Power Washer in person than I would like in a video game. But this is probably the next best thing, because I don't want to go out and buy a Power Washer, and I don't think I could rent one like that. I probably could, but I don't really feel like doing that. So maybe I'll check it out to kind of live my fantasies of a Power Washer. But I will say this, with the PS5 and the Switch, if they have really good HD rumble and DualSense controls, this could be something. This could turn into something even bigger on the Switch and the PS5 with those extra controls features. This is where having that HD rumble, having that DualSense stuff is really good for this type of game where you're power washing stuff, you know? So could be really good. So what do you guys think about this? Are you excited for Power Wash Simulator for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation consoles? Did you already check it out before? And what did you think about everything that we discussed here in this video? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell. We will see you for the next video. Peace.